Hey guys, Cornell here. I just thought I would make a video. I don't know how long this GoPro is going to last. I tried to charge it up in the truck. If that happens, I'll just go to iPhone. But I did a live broadcast last night and just had a bit of a chat, and I was actually surprised at how many people showed up. It was a lot of fun, you know. I had Dave from Bigfoot and More, and Mark Copeland from Livewire, John Hodges, Anything Outdoors, and the Squatch and Cowboy. There was a ton of people came in. It was a really good discussion, and my point was to just talk about the direction of the channel, but I got caught up in the conversation because that was interesting in itself. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and thanks for stopping by. So I'm actually going on a hike just to get some cardio in, really. I'm at Wachusett reservoir right now. I'm just walking around it, and I thought, you know, I've got a few stories of my own, not Bigfoot related, but a few crazy stories nonetheless, and I was going to share one with you. I'm sure you're all aware of Scientology, right? Well, I'm 50. I went back to school when I was 27 for journalism. Within a year of going back to school, I got like an internship. The money was terrible, but it was in a magazine in Belfast, Northern Ireland called Buzz Magazine, and I was hired as a feature writer. And I was basically doing what I'm doing now, only in written form. I would, you know, investigate all these different subjects. I mean, it was pretty cool. I actually I did a whole thing on racism in the KKK. So I was on the phone with the guy from the British Nationalist Party and stuff, the BNP, getting information off him. And I was, you know, we didn't have internet. This was just before the internet hit. And I would go out and interview people. And I went to the library and, you know, read a lot of books in the KKK and stuff. So I did an article on that. I also did an article on Satanism. And it was pretty lame, you know. There wasn't many resources, so I went out and interviewed this guy in his home. He was a very famous, you know, one of these people in the 80s that was really against the devil and rock music. And of course I hated those people at the time. I still kind of think they're full of it, because I think that's all just for show and stuff. That's not where the real evil lies. It's nothing to do with you know, Ronnie James Dio and Iron Maiden and stuff. Most of those guys are Christians. It's all just theatre. You know, the real bad guys are the guys you don't hear about, you know, in the upper echelons of government and stuff. So, yeah, so I went out and interviewed him, and like I said, I didn't have many resources. It was all the library and interviewing people. I also did a whole thing on animal cruelty, and I interviewed a guy he was the top guy in Northern Ireland for the whatever division it's called within the police that deals with animal cruelty. Can't remember his name, Peter someone. I also did one on drugs, and I went out and interviewed this guy from the drug squad, and he just looked like an old aging hippie. And I was like, you know, he was telling me about the dangers of psychedelics and marijuana, you know, and I'm like nodding my head as if I didn't know what he was talking about, you know. So that was fun. I also did, I did a thing on Algeria too, and I had gotten in contact because Algeria had a terrible civil war in the 90s. It was horrible. Channel 4 from a British channel did a whole thing on it, where these supposed Muslim militia gangs were going in and just into these small villages and just slaughtering like a few hundred people at a time, and it was happening all the time, and it was always near army bases. And this journalist, his thoughts were that the army were involved, but it was very gruesome. They actually showed the aftermath of one of these massacres on Channel 4, and this is quite distressing, but there was like a decapitated infant lying on top of one of the roofs, so obviously they'd thrown it up there. But they had went into a courtyard. You know, the way those Muslim villages would have like a building, and there'd be a big courtyard in the middle, but there was a big pyramid of heads of from all of the male occupants of the village. So I did a whole thing on that. So I also did one on Scientology because that was like fascinating. You know, L. Ron Hubbard and John Travolta, Tom Cruise, all those guys. There's a lot of big stars into Scientology. So, and this all stemmed from, you know, they stop you in the middle of the street. They're like the Hare Krishnas, and they make you take a personality test. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I was always interested in like weird cults and religions and stuff. So they invited me to go up to a talk, which was in like a really bad area of Belfast, you know. So I went up there, and you know, these were kind of like the real anoraks, and anorak back home is like a train spotter, kind of a nerd, but they were kind of like losers, you know, and they had no personality. But I was still intrigued, so I actually got in touch with the head guy in Ireland, and he was based out of Dublin. So I was away for a weekend. All these gay guys that I knew were heading down there, and I was friends with them, and they knew how to party, so I like going out with them, you know. I don't discriminate. And we all headed down there, and you know, the day before I left, I had arranged a meeting with them right in the middle of Dublin. So I went and talked to him, and he had that personality, like he was talking to you, but he wasn't really there. And I'll give you an example. Someone said about Ghislaine Maxwell, they said that she's the type of person, she's very shallow, you know. And one of her friends said she's the type of person that if she arrived at a party where there was a lot of rich and famous people at, and you know, the host greeted her at the door, she'd be looking over her shoulder to see who was more famous or rich than the host was, you know. That's the type of person this guy was. It was just like he wasn't really interested in me, and he was distracted, and I'm like, well, whatever, he's just, maybe that's just his personality. And then shortly after, I mean, then I did a whole 2-page article on it. So I had gotten in contact with a woman through Yahoo Chats. Yahoo Chats was the big thing, and I had named myself aspiring Scientologist, so that if there was any Scientologists in the chat room, they would see me, you know, and then it would spark conversation. So that's what I did, and we got talking. She was from the north end of Boston, and I was heading to Boston. This was in 1999. I was heading there. I landed in Boston in January 2000, and my girlfriend at the time and her met up, and she had that same personality. Exactly the same. There was something off. And I remember she took us out to dinner, and she was telling us about how rich she was and how Scientology had made her rich. And I was just a poor traveller, and I'd just see that Canadian geese. It's a big bastard. So I had, let me just make sure that this is still recording. Yeah, so I had, we didn't have very much money. We thought this lady was loaded. And then when it came to splitting the bill, I mean, it was split 3 ways to the penny. And I was kind of put off by that. She wasn't like I don't expect her to pay for my dinner, but I mean, she made quite a big deal about making sure that it was split 3 ways exactly. So that was another hint that there was something up. So then, like about a day after I landed in Boston, I went to the Scientology place on Beacon Street. It used to be on Beacon Street. They changed. It was a big old building, you know, like I can't imagine how much money this thing cost. It was right on Beacon Street, a big brownstone, you know, and it had many floors in it. The place was huge. And I went in there, and it was just like you see on the not the documentaries, the promotional videos about Scientology, you know. It's all beautiful, and you know, there's happy shining people walking around, and it's very busy, you know. I'm talking about the reception area, which it was, and you know, everybody was like zipping back and forth, and this is like, wow, this is cool. I want to get to know more about this. So I went and met this guy. He was like a French kind of a guy. He he looked French, and he had those little, he was like a cartoon character. He had those little pointy shoes and a little French beard, and he was like something out of the Pink Panther, you know. And he had exactly the same thing as the guy in Dublin. He was there, but he wasn't there. He was talking to me, but he was thinking about something else. So he brought us into this big like cinema kind of a room, and just set us in front of an L. Ron Hubbard, you know, the Scientology introductory video that they probably make everybody watch. So my girlfriend and I roped her along, you know. God bless her, you know. She went along with it, with my crazy, what do you call it? Impulses, you know. So she went along with me, and we both sat there and watched it. And that's pretty cool. This L. Ron Hubbard guy seems cool. He's written more fiction books than anybody on earth, I think. He was a sailor. He was in the army. I mean, he was all these things. He was a pilot, explorer. I mean, I tried to read the Dianetics book, which was the first book to come out. Look at this place. I couldn't get through it. It was too technical. But I thought, well, that's on me. You know, I must be doing something wrong. Check this place out. So, the only problem with walking through here is there's ticks everywhere. I have spray on me, but I'm not walking through a tick-infested area. I'll just keep to the path. So, I thought this is cool, and you know, at the reception, they're like, oh, what did you think of it? I'm like, oh, it was really informative, very interesting, thanks. And they're like, well, if you want to sign up for one of our courses, it's totally free. The first course is free. And I'm like, sure. And I'll try to explain this as best I can. Scientology, basic philosophy is that you have all of these engrams in you. Now, you find out a lot more about what these engrams are the further you get in, but at the start, I'll just keep it simple. These negative imprints that have been printed your whole life, and you go through this routine to get them out of you. So it's called auditing. So we practiced it, my girlfriend and I, and we would pick a situation where each of us felt uncomfortable, or each of us had a little bit of PTSD about. So I would try it on her, she would try it on me, and my one was, this time I got really paranoid. I was walking past a police station, and there was soldiers there, and they all had machine guns, and it was very intimidating. And I got really paranoid. I don't know why, because I've been through that situation so many times. I mean, there was cops and soldiers everywhere with machine guns. You know, that was an everyday thing in Northern Ireland. So and she brought me through it, and she would keep going back, and she would describe how you felt and describe the scene. So you would describe the scene, and you would describe how you felt, and then you would go back to the start and fill in any details you missed. And you kept doing this until supposedly it lost its power, and you started feeling more light about it, and it wouldn't be a problem anymore, and you would get rid of that negative impression left in you by that incident. You know what I mean? So then I don't remember what her thing was, but I saw all these other people. There was about 12 people in the room, like 6 couples, and other people were like, you know, staring at each, like having staring contests, and it builds up your confidence. You know, that was another course. Don't know what you call it, but they would just be like staring at each other for, I don't know how long it went on for, but there was 2 guys I noticed, and they were staring at each other for like at least half an hour, just staring at each other's eyes, and that, you know, boosted up your confidence and being able to deal with people and look in their eyes, and you know, that kind of thing. But this all seems pretty normal, right? So after each course, let me just check the percentage in this thing. I don't know how much time I've got left. It'll beep when it lets me know. I hope it doesn't not let me know and then you lose the story. So after each course, you take a test with an e-meter, and it's basically a lie detector test. You hold on to these 2 like canisters, and it reads a reaction on the meter, and the person at the other end can see it. So he's like asking you questions. What did you think of the course? Well, I thought it was really helpful. Do you think that it was successful? Yeah, I think it was successful. And like each time this guy just asked me questions, he's like looking at me like I was guilty of something. He was like, it was so sinister. And anybody that I met in there was kind of had this sinister vibe to them, like cold, detached, you know. And he's like, you failed the test. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, let's do it again tomorrow. What did you have for breakfast this morning? I'm like, cereal. He's like, have some protein, like maybe some bacon and eggs, and come back tomorrow. Maybe it's a protein imbalance or something. I don't know the science. I'm like, okay. So the next day I get there, a couple of the people that have been dealing with me that I felt really creeped out by greeted me at the door. And I like slapped my hands together and I'm like, all right, say his name is Gerard. All right, Gerard, I'm ready for the lie detector test. You know, and everybody in the foyer was just like, didn't find that funny at all. They were all just like looking at me like I had, you know, killed somebody. So this is very swampy here, by the way. So I went up and did it again and I passed. So on the way out of the building, I had to check in with the reception. And they're like, you're going to be given a certificate, and we have a graduation for every time somebody passes something. Friday nights we have the graduations. Just show up. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. You know, we want to hear your story about how you came from Ireland and found Scientology. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I went down to the reception to talk about this, and they're like, okay, so would like to sign you up for the next course. And if you sign up today, it's going to be half off. Tomorrow it's going to go back up to whatever it was, $400. But today we can give it to you for $200. I can't remember what the course was, but it's the next step. They keep getting more expensive, you know. And I'm like, okay, maybe, yeah, I don't really have the money on me right now. I've got like $700 in my pocket that I came from Ireland with. I'll get back to you. So the graduation night came and went. I never went back. And we had a home phone, and this is the time that you had like caller ID show up on the home phone. And they called me, the Church of Scientology, on the phone. They called me every day for about 3 months. And of course I was screening my calls, so I never answered them. And they called me and called me and called me. And ever since, you know, I've been very critical of it. And I've listened to all that there is about it. Going Clear documentary, Louis Theroux's Scientology movie and stuff. There's a couple of high-ranking people that have come out and like told all, and they have podcasts and stuff. So I follow all that stuff because I'm interested in the psychology of it. Look at this place. Oh, so that's my Scientology story. You know, am I a person that's gullible enough to believe that, you know, and then join a cult? You know, I don't know. I think I'm just a seeker. I like to seek out stuff and learn stuff. So that was the reasoning behind it. Yeah, I'm going to stick to the shoreline. I don't know where these paths go. This is very interesting here. So yeah, that's my Scientology story. I have other stories about cults. Hopefully I got all that before this kicks off. Yep, that took about 15 minutes to tell. Good. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I have hopefully a guest coming on tonight to talk about some people would call it woo stuff, about Bigfoot and aliens. Whatever, bring it on. I'll listen. What do I know? I have my own opinions, but, you know, I'm gonna talk about other stuff too. Some conspiracy stuff thrown in there. I mean, like I said last night, that's kind of stuff I find fun. Yeah, I don't know what's in there. Like I said, there's ticks everywhere here. So I ain't going on a big mission through the thick forest, but I've been through this area 20 times. I've walked for 4 miles through here, and it's really enjoyable. Never had any kind of an encounter, so I mean, I think I might have one time, but I don't know. I'm just going to shut up for a while. This is the cranberry bogs. Yeah, it's actually got cranberries around here. It's a little protected area. It's very different than everything else around it. It's like a little hidden spot, isn't it? I mean, the foliage and stuff and the trees are kind of different. Little pond. Deer probably come down here to drink. And there's an island out here, and you would think you were at the ocean. I'm going to try to take you to it. Now, going through here, I will definitely get ticks on me. I do have spray. I'll just have to watch for them as I go, because they don't just reside in grass. You see this crap here. It's very muddy. But yep, I'm getting my new hiking boots caked in mud. This is almost like tropical down here. Of course, I'm looking out for footprints. Yeah, it seems to be the end of the road. Used to be able to get through here. Maybe you still can. Yeah, you can. Wow. That's a weird footprint, guys. That's a very weird footprint. It's kind of thin at the back and broad at the front. That's not what a shoe does, right? Ticks, tick, ticks. So as you can see, it changes a lot around here. But the path is still here. Let's check if I'm still recording. Yep. Okay, I'm getting hit by a load of grass, but I'm determined to get to this island. The last time I went here, I had to actually get down on my hands and knees and crawl through the underbrush, and this went through a spider's web. Hope that wasn't a big guy. So now this is the kind of place, if you had an encounter, you're kind of screwed, because I'm a couple of miles in and it's not just a hop, skip and a jump to get out of here again. Spiders' webs everywhere. Tick check. Yeah, this isn't the right way. I think I'm supposed to go down to, well, from this way down to the left. But it looks pretty overgrown. Down that way, maybe? Nah. Shit. It's all blocked off. Nope, I don't see any connecting trails. Maybe down this way. Maybe this is it. It's definitely some kind of a game trail. Nah, I'm a good bit away from that little island. I used to go out there and meditate. And it was really, really nice. It was very calming. Man, I'm a dumbass. I will definitely have, I can, you know, I've got shorts on, but these things will crawl up your, inside of your shorts in a second. I'll have to pick them out of my groin tonight. Maybe do a live stream of that, huh? So yeah, I think I'm going to upload this. This is interesting. I haven't been down here in ages. I'm going to try to see if I can show you this footprint. It's right here. Okay. That one right there. Right? Stand at the back, broad at the front. Strange. I'm really trying to navigate this without falling into the marsh. So I walk on stilts all day, so I'm really good at that. Yeah, if there's any footprints in this place, this is where you're going to find them. Yeah. It's like quicksand, you know, like those old movies. Those old movies where they're, you know, the old British explorers are heading into the Congo or something. And they go into the quicksand, and I remember being a kid, that was one of my worst ways to go. You know, if you ever thought of you know, you would have like these competitions with your friends when you're like about 13, which is, you know, you're trying to outdo each other. And that was always my biggest fear, being trapped in quicksand. Then we used to talk about, you know, if we had a free period and the teacher didn't turn up, we would sit and talk about, like, this was like the early 80s, so it was like videos had just came out, and we'd sit and talk about all the video nasties, as they were called in Britain and Ireland. And we'd talk about the movies, you know, and like how shocking they were. The Exorcist and Last House on the Left and Friday the 13th and stuff. And then we'd always end up on Japanese torture methods. And I'm like, I'll go up this way. And we would try to, you know, the first thing he would say is, you know what they used to do? And, you know, looking back at it and after researching for years, and we were pretty, that was pretty real. Those things actually did happen, and worse. Unit 741, look that up. That was in Manchuria, I believe, where they experimented on mostly Chinese prisoners. Huh. Thought I heard something. They experimented on some Allied prisoners too. Yeah, this is very thick here. If something won't just jump out on you, it's a great ambush spot, right? But like I said, I've been coming down here for years, nothing. And I can see a lot of people tracks. So if there is any activity in here, they're used to us. Has went quiet though. See the far bank over there? That's kind of where I was over there. I would have had to walk that whole way around that corner, and then there's an island. Maybe I should have done it in the fall or the spring. I mean, technically it still is spring, but huh. What the hell? Guys, look at this. You see that? I'm gonna take a photograph of it. Heel. Those look like toes. And does Sasquatch have the arch? I'm gonna take a photograph of that. Look at that. This looks like a bear. That is weird looking. Always one effing footprint, which makes me think it's just a fluke, you know, like two different footprints pressed together to make it look like one big footprint. So this is where I come back out to the lake, and I'm going to hit that section over there. It's very beautiful. Check for ticks. Yep, there's one right there, crawling right up my leg. Place is full of them. Oh good, this is all open. I don't have to go into the woods. Yeah, I got some ticks on me, folks. Still recording. Great. I actually should have live streamed this because they actually have really good service here. How many miles have I done? I always think that I went so far. And then you look, and it's like, I thought I went a lot further than that. Yeah, I've only went like 1.6 miles. Feels like a lot longer. I want to do at least 4. A lot of people come down here to go fishing. Such a beautiful, yeah, that's the island, guys. You see it? That's where I would have had to go. It's not really an island because it's connected to the mainland, but I would have had to walk that whole way through the bushes. It's just too far. Yeah, and I would go to the very end of that island where the last tree is on the right hand side, and I would sit there for like an hour and just chill out. Oh, the wind hitting you in the face here makes you feel like you're somewhere else. So this is basically where I came down. I would have brought my fishing gear, but I don't have my license yet. Let me get some water. The wind's nice and cool. Apparently, right in front of me there used to be a town, and they moved most of the buildings to, I think, Bolton. They moved the whole town and then flooded this place. That's about all I know about it. I'm sure it'd be a great place to go diving, huh? I'm sure they left some stuff down there. Old rock walls and stuff. Probably find all sorts of shit buried in the ground. There's way out there somewhere. Right across here. So this, I don't know how much, where this water goes. Do you hear that? What the hell is that? Bird? Do you hear that? Okay, so my phone just died, but you're not going to hear it now, but I'm hearing something really strange over at the island there that I was talking about. Hopefully my GoPro caught it. This one. Hear it? Gotta be a bird. Sorry, I didn't bring my handheld with me. I'll keep this as steady as possible. You know, come to think of it, I've never actually ventured into any of these woods. They're kind of thick. I'll go up and have a look. I think there's actually a big ridge right at the end. Yeah, it's pretty thick there. No, someone has definitely put that there. Yeah, that's definitely been put there. It's probably just a person. I don't know. I'm getting burnt from the sun, I'll tell you that, guys. And it doesn't take much to burn me. I actually got basal cell skin cancer about 10 years ago. I thought it was an ingrown hair. It was on my face. It was there for about 5 years. And it wouldn't go away. And it looked like a volcano, you know, a volcano crater. It was like about the size of your little finger, and it was just an indent. So I finally went to the doctor, and they said, oh, that's skin cancer. It's a kind of a harmless skin cancer, but they had to cut so much of it out, I ended up getting 17 stitches on the left side of my face. Scar's almost gone now. Just erosion. I got a weird feeling about this place though. Not really. Oh, that's trees just come right down. Hold on, it's the best way over here. The best way over is under. Look at that one. It's about to come down any day. Next big storm that's coming down. Just like these ones did. Wow, it really opens out here. Okay, I'm going to switch this off. Start heading back. I've walked about 2 miles, and it's about 2 miles back. Talk to you soon, folks.